I'm live and alive. Place on this Saturday fun day. The gays request the shirtless stream. There's a petition with 10,000 sigs. Okay, the funny thing about that is that I've done more shirtless streams in Japan than I ever have in my entire life. Most of them were on Will's channel, but we went crazy with the shirtless streams. We went, I did a shirtless sumo stream. I did a shirtless fight club stream. You know, we did it all. Wait, hold on. I'm going to do something here that might actually fix the lighting a little bit. Potentially. Let's see. Is that better? Make the lighting a little bit warmer. OBS. Window behind you is causing the blowout. Yeah, the problem with that is I can't shut the window off because there is already a shade on it. There's already literally a thing on the window. I was twerking in booty shorts. Yeah, I got slutty as hell when I was in Japan, honestly. So it's kind of crazy that you guys don't recognize that. Yeah, I need blackout curtains. I know. Did Chad already forget you were shirtless in Japan? Yeah, look at this. Dude, I was a slutty maid. Like, I was real slutty in Japan. It was crazy. What does fun day mean? So back in the day, I used to watch a lot of like fun content. And today we're going to get back to that. I searched for your channel on the Twitch app just now, like I always do, and yours did not appear, just the waiting room channels. There might be a big conspiracy to destroy me. Stavros Halkias was on Hot Ones. We'll watch that. So there's a lot of fun stuff that we are going to watch. You can definitely slap some film under the reflective light. There are better solutions than curtains. Thanks, everybody. I didn't realize I had a community full of gaffers. Ayatse, set production, set design people in the chat. I know there are many options, and guess what? I'm not going to be doing them right now. But there will be news today. Obviously, we're going to get started on news. We're going to talk about like DOGE block. We're going to talk about Israel complains about hostage conditions, in parentheses, insane. Yay goes full Hitler again. Didn't actually talk about that. Didn't actually get to talk about that yesterday because it was just like whatever. Did you take any inspiration from Moist Critical in the setup? Similar vibes? No, this has been my setup. It's just you're seeing more of it. Did you see that Hexeth is changing out which news orgs will be allowed at the press conference? Yes. Have you ever heard lift to experience? What does that mean?
Conservative.
Apparently Jose did a conservative documentary video, which I love. I'm snitching on Will. What did he say?
Slamming into me.
I'm gonna beat Marsha up, and then I'm gonna beat Kaya up.
There's nothing you can do about it.
No. Damn, the quality on this was not great, apparently, like in the Fight Club.
Of not.
Why was it so low? May I suggest raising the house and rotating about 28 degrees anti-clockwise? Yeah. Thank you for your suggestion. Can we watch our boy get fit later? Sure. Yeah. Can we watch Chat find in love with the Hawktua dating app? Hawktua has a dating app? Maga is infighting whether being gay is okay. Okay. Hi. Okay. Yes, we're going to watch me being on fire. People just being racist to black pilots now. Nice. Expected. Normal. Cool stuff happening in the United States of America. Normal stuff happening in this country, which is a normal country. A normal country. Just not an abnormal country, but a normal one. Very cool. All right, let me blast off and then let's do it. I'm live and alive on this Saturday fun day. Doge block from courts. Israel complains about hostage conditions. Diego's full Hitler again. Then we watch Liar Liar Pants on Fire and more fun reacts. Get in now. www.twitch.tv/Hasanabi. All right, we blasted off. Let the people know we are live. We are alive. Maga is fighting over whether Scott Pressler's being gay is okay or not. How dare they come after the king? You better not come at. If you come after the king, you better not miss, dude. Scott Pressler is the king. Hey, Kaya, place. I thought she wanted to get some water. Come on, get up there. What the hell is this? Don't look at me like that. It's bad for your joints if you lay on the ground. Chatters are so annoying when they say like, why don't you let her on the ground? It's because it's bad for her joints. It's bad for her joints. Okay. Squeaks mogs you? What is
They're
this?
doing this because of Canada going to China for more influence. At Hasanabi. I can't think of another reasons they have done drone text or Republican. Bro, you're in the wrong chat. I'm not Hassan. We just look similar.
Okay, that's kind of cool that he said that, because like I take that as a compliment that he thinks we look alike, as in like I look as much as Chad like as Squeaks does. You know what I mean? Like he's such a handsome guy. He's such a goddamn Chad. He mogs me on a daily basis, but it is cool that he thinks that we look alike at least. You know what I mean? Like respect. Fix your stream. I'm seeing double. Guys, stop with the stop. Stop it. Stop. You play too much. You play too much.
Yes, I do. I look exactly like him. No, obviously there's a big difference. I think I'm like really, really, really good looking. I kind of.
Oh damn! I didn't realize he was. I didn't realize he was gonna come out and say that. Like it's true, but it's like it's one of those things where just because it's true, you shouldn't say it. You know what I mean? You probably shouldn't say it because it's true, right? Like I didn't realize he openly would say that he mogs me. Fix the stream. You are red like the Quaaludes guy. What? No, I'm not. Fix your eyes. What the fuck?
Mog him. You clear him, sweetie.
What is this?
Guys, there's a new healthcare CEO for United. Also, hunting.
Wait, Squeaks then defended you? Oh, I think I saw this. I saw this. This is a perfect representation of the insanity of my haters that go far and wide. You know what I mean? A perfect representation of the insanity of my haters. Well, look at this.
Team up on Discord. Hassan is corrupt. Hassan.
LSF mods are banning any mention of D. Oh, they're back to their sweeping ways. There was like a 1 day period where LSF allowed clips to be out, and now it's gone. I find your haters in chess streams. Yeah, it's funny when they go to like people that I like and people who I sometimes collaborate with and stuff like that, and then they will do stuff like this. Look at this. Look at the mania.
Protect streamers. Their fans are on their whim. Hassan and streamers have a stronghold on the industry. Fuck Hassan. I love when people use the term industry. Like we're not all just like balding men saying cum. Like look at the game I'm about to play. You think there's an interesting take you're gonna have on the industry? Sorry. That guy is so fucked. No, wait, don't ban him. Don't ban him.
Hassan and streamers team up on Discord. Hassan is corrupt. Hassan protects streamers. Their fans are on their whim. Hassan and streamers have a stronghold on the industry. Fuck Hassan.
Fuck. Fuck. That's how I read it. Fuck. Fuck.
Bros have decided doing QAnon. Like, they're doing, unironically, they're doing QAnon, but for streaming. At least like your MAGA grandparents do QAnon for like consequential things. You know what I mean? Like at least people who are doing QAnon, accounts suspended or deactivated. Damn, that's right. It's because I do have that stronghold on the Twitch sphere. That's right. That's why this account I forced this account to deactivate because I control this platform. I own it. Anyway, at least QAnon has space lasers. They have so many alts. They just kept adding underscores. What? Is this guy? I mean, this guy's not all right, it seems. Anyway, where were we? Oh, here. He's not fat. Bring him back. Dallas Mavs fans react to the reports that the team had issues with Luka Doncic's conditioning. Fire Nico, sell the team, go away. Luka is the culture. Judas, Benedict, Brutus, Nico. Yo, Dirk handed Luka the torch. Nico blew it out. That's amazing. I mean, dude, it is pretty sad. You had incredible talent, then you just tossed it aside. They're destroying the Luka Fat Man allegations. Bro, why are you sending me the same? I'm literally watching the clip. This is the thing that I will never understand why chatters do this thing where I'll be literally watching the clip that they send me and they'll be like, yo, can you please watch this video? It is funny. It's like, I just watched it. Anyway, yeah, fire Nico and Miriam. I think Miriam wants the team to go to Vegas, and that's why she did this move. Okay, so remember, hating Miriam Adelson is good. Okay, remember, a lot of people are hating on Nico, but the real reason you can't make a trade like this without the owner signing off on it. Okay, this is something that Miriam Adelson pushed for in my headcanon. Okay, do I have any evidence for it? Anybody that criticizes D gets banned off of LSF. Now they're just throwing all plausible deniability away. Yeah, that's not surprising. How can a Destiny fan post this with a straight face, let alone Destiny say it, when he's an actual sexual predator who's harassed Hassan for years, lol? Edit got banned for this, lol. Not beating the allegations of being lackeys for DGG. Yeah, they're going ham on this. They're not even hiding it anymore. They're like, hey, like they posted this video. Ethan Klein reveals Hassan told him not to talk about Destiny when they started Leftovers. Yeah, it wasn't just Destiny. There were a couple other people that he wanted to cover all the time as well to like clown on him, like Nick Fuentes. And I was like, I don't want to do that. Destiny, no, Hassan used Destiny to get ahead. Oh my God. Ex-predator or terrorist apologists, both sides are cooked. Yeah, dude, totally. Anyway, I can't believe we just started off immediately with LSF. What a silly way to start fun day. We're moving on. We're moving quickly away from that. That wasn't even a secret. You talked about it during Leftovers. Yeah, it's not. Why would I? Like, ironically enough, I was right. So I don't know why they thought they could post that and make it seem like it's something that is favorable. I think a lot of people just like regularly are perma stuck in their echo chambers. So they think like, this is great. Yeah, you're just posting a W, man. I don't understand. Yeah. Also, I was right. Not only because of like the sex pestiny shit, but I was also right because he did actively harass Ethan and everyone on the fucking crew, and actually still does to this day, even though now he's homies with Ethan. So I don't know. Yeah. Hey, just letting you know, it's gonna get brigaded by weirdos, and then it did. PSN down. What is your stance? They don't want you to play video games on PlayStation. Anyway, my MAGA QAnon dad, who doesn't know I watch you, came and asked me about you because he saw the Ethan video. That's so funny. I'm glad that it's getting visibility from the funniest circles. I think PSN is down because of US aid. That's what it is. I think US aid was funding PSN specifically because they wanted small boobies in Sony PlayStation games so they could harm gamers. And basically, once USAID funding was cut, PSN obviously suffered. Now, however, the boobies are going to get bigger in the video game. So that's something to look forward to if that's your cup of tea. Why is he not reacting to the WoW raid? That is much more important. I don't play WoW. Sony just DMCA'd 60 FPS Bloodborne project, so the occult witches are hexing PSN. Do you see Kanye crashing out? Yes. And it's very annoying.
I wanted to start off with a question because you've been in, unique situations and maybe you can help. If after you left Microsoft, you found out that Steve Ballmer traded Windows 11, like the new hot operating system, for Windows 10, the Hall of Fame, but older upgrade, what would you do?
I might have to hide from the press.
I know a couple other people.
Wait, why are they laughing before the joke? Because it's like the most obvious joke of all time. They're laughing because the former owner of the Dallas Mavericks, who sold it off to Miriam Adelson, is over here talking about how Miriam Adelson is destroying the franchise deliberately so that she can, I guess, have more money to give to Donald Trump at the behest of Israel. Yeah, and also move the franchise to Vegas. Somehow this ties back to Israel. I haven't figured out how, but I will. I will eventually figure it out, okay? Somehow. Yeah, Luka was too pro-Palestine. Kyrie is next. Anyway, where was I? Luka is Hamas. Yes. But you guys have already started making like sexy videos of this, but yeah. I a couple months ago on I Did a Thing, I collaborated with the Aussie boys when they were here, and we shot a video. The video featured some of your favorite content creators, okay, and myself. And in this video, we all lit ourselves on fire. And I was very scared of doing this for understandable reasons. Having said that, however, it actually was a really fun experience overall. And yeah, that's it. Here.
It's a little bit embarrassing story, but I stole my best friend's Nintendo DS. To be fair, my Game Boy Color had been stolen in the past. So I think I had like,
No, what like do you mean to be fair? If someone robs you, you don't rob someone else out of war.
I was a kid.
He's a communist.
I was a kid. I was redistributing his property to myself.
Yeah. Why doesn't Hasanabi dress like that? It's such a good look. Because these are special clothing that are designed, well, they're cheaper, so you light them on fire and it doesn't matter. These are not my clothes. We did this with Stuntman, and we'll do it. We'll watch the video in a little bit, okay? Timothy Chalamet, need your thoughts on this fit. I mean, this is a pretty, like, this is very K-pop, Japanese fashion. Like, this is popping. Like, this is what's kind of popping right now. This is Kevin Federline. Yeah, that is what is back. Yeah, 2011. I'm not defending it. It's not for me. It's not for me. I don't really like it, but this is the meta currently. I don't know. Guys, trends change, and oftentimes they recycle, okay? Trends are like a circle. Something that's popping. Something that is popping like 10 years ago, 20 years ago will inevitably come back around. Okay. There is obviously a resurgence of the late 90s, early 2000s fits. Okay. And that's where we're at right now. This is precisely what is going on. Now, there's obviously timeless looks that you can always wear, but that gets kind of boring, especially if you're constantly finding yourself on red carpets and constantly looking to, get people writing about you. Okay. That's why these guys hire stylists to browse through whatever the new trend is and basically take that new trend and put it on a celebrity so that he'll get flicked up on the red carpet and people will say, look at how stylish he is. This is not for you. It's not for me either, because I don't really like this look. But like bulky, very baggy pants, which I also like because they're very comfortable, and big bulky shoes is definitely the meta currently. This is also like kind of like ugly by design, I think. Not for you equals can't criticize. No, I can defend this fit on the virtue of I can defend this fit on like how stylish it is for the moment, how trendy it is, but I don't think it's a timeless fit at all. And this has been the trend for the past couple of years, and it's increasingly becoming more the trend, I guess. Basically, though, what ends up happening is, it's the Devil Wears Prada meta, okay? What ends up happening is you see it on the red carpets, or before you see it on the red carpets, you see it on the runway, okay? Runway dictates where fashion is going. First, you see it on the runway. Then you see it on the red carpets. Then, slowly but surely, it cycles in all the way to like the H&Ms and the Forever 21s. And last but not least, it inevitably makes its way to the bargain bin at Ross Dress for Less when many of the chatters actually encountered this kind of clothing, and go, ooh, this is nostalgic. I used to wear stuff like this. At that point, it's already out of the trend. At that point, you're 5 years too late to the game, but it doesn't matter. It's not for you anyway. Who cares? Okay? That's how it works. Why are you fetishizing commodities? I love fetishizing commodities. Are you kidding me? Look at me. I feel attacked. It's just, you can look at certain things and recognize that you are not supposed to be the audience that it's for. You know what I mean? Do you have a stylist? I do not. You always cherry pick the worst comment and act like it's your chat. Fashion is pathetic because there's zero creativity from anyone involved except corporations. This is also completely untrue. There are plenty of up and coming small designers, and what you're describing is basically fashion houses that have become corporate. Okay, virtually all major fashion houses end up getting under the brand of Louis Vuitton. Okay, LVMH. They're all under the same umbrella corporation, and they all basically destroy any semblance of creativity that they have. Having said that, however, there are still smaller up-and-coming designers that are out there making wearable art, things of that nature, or even designers that have a very distinct style, a distinct brand, a distinct credo, and then they end up inevitably getting sold off to LVMH. Obviously, one of the most recent examples of that is Capital, and that's it. I don't have a lot of clothes, but the things I do have are really nice and unique. Does the runway dictate fashion, or do they get their influence from actual real-life subcultures on the ground? No, they do. The designers oftentimes will get their influence from real-life subcultures on the ground. One of the best examples that has dictated the meta in fashion for like the last decade plus would be the skate culture and athleisure. Okay? It's kind of going away now, finally. But for the last decade, I would say, skate culture and athleisure has basically dominated all the runways, all the fashion houses. Have you heard of that one Ukrainian homeless guy that basically dictated the Balenciaga style for years now? Yes, of course, dude. That's the most famous story. There will be no streetwear without skate culture. Exactly. Streetwear has been massively influential in fashion houses for the most part. And all the baggier fits that you see, all of that is coming basically from skate culture and streetwear in general. Anyway, this is not necessarily something that people enjoy when I talk about, but it is definitely something that I'm interested in personally. Also, speaking of athleisure and streetwear, the guy that played a pretty big role on top of Virgil Abloh in mass producing athleisure and streetwear is very clearly crashing out once again on the timeline. Everybody knew he was a Nazi already, but he's going full Nazi mode once again in an effort to desperately get people to pay attention to him. But it seems like in that process, it seems he's gotten one of his collabs pulled. Numerous famous celebrities have finally unfollowed him. And Kai Cenat, who was supposed to do a collab with him, said this.
I'm going to go ahead and address the elephant in the room. I seen the tweets, my nigga. I seen the tweets, bro. I seen the tweets. I don't know what's going on, bro. I think it's GG's.
He doesn't. What do you mean you don't know what's going on? He did this before,
Hey,
the second time he's doing it.
I think it is GG's. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I think, bro, it's crazy, bro. I don't know, bro. It's crazy. It's just back to back to back. I don't know. I think it's GG's. It's GG's, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, of course it's GG's. And the thing is, I have a different approach to it. I do think that like his mental illness certainly played a major role in making him vulnerable and more susceptible to Nazi influence. Candace Owens played a big role in, I think, Kanye West's like neo-Nazi radicalization. Having said that, however, this is the second time. This is the second go at it. And I think at this point, it's fairly obvious that it's not because of just like the mania that comes in and out of Kanye West's life, but also I think he's doing it for attention. Like it's just like a child that needs attention and cries and poops in his diapers. That's what he's doing. Like he's just very clearly trying to sell some product. And if you can't do it because of your creative skills, what do? You go for the lowest common denominator. That's it. The lowest common denominator is saying shit that people will pay attention to negatively. Okay? 14-year-old kids do this exact same thing all the time. Like literally this exact same thing, which is, screaming the racially charged, racist ass bullshit. That's it. He's like an angry baby. Okay? There's a FD signifier about Kanye, which is illuminating about his past and how he was maybe always like this. Yeah. He hit every part of the political spectrum. I will say nothing bad or against China. They always showed me love. When Americans turned their backs on me, I'm a Nazi. Who's your top 5 baddest bitches of all time? My wife, my wife, my wife, my wife. My wife demoralizes bitches. I change my mind when I feel like it. If you see anyone around me, know that they are providing a service. Friends are for kids. Higher place. Friends are for kids. I used to be broke. Now I can't relate to brokenness and don't want to. All white people are racist. I'm happily out of touch. Rock Carmichael is funnier than Dave Chappelle. I miss you, family, and I'm sorry if I ever said any gay jokes in front of you, not knowing you was gay. You are one of the most brilliant people. And yes, I said I miss you, knowing people will try to flip that. He's finally crossed the line. Wait, is Gerard Carmichael gay? He's selling this now? What is this? Okay, dude. I've wanted to make this t-shirt for years. My greatest performance art piece thus far. Like, this has 89,000 likes. Twitter is so cooked. Yeah, Heil Hitler 01. Dude, let me explain something to you, okay? Let me explain something to you. Like, this is 1,000,000% someone who is unimaginably desperate for attention, okay? He said, hail Elon. Kanye is not being a contrarian. If he was, he would be a communist. The ultimate contrarian under a capitalist system. Being a Nazi and spewing Nazi views just reinforces what capitalist fascist collaborators want to do. Dude, no, I don't think you understand. He is just simply, okay? He is just simply doing what he thinks is the edgiest thing you can do, okay? That's it. And this is his perspective on what he believes is edgy. That's it. It's a desperate ploy for attention from an old man who is nearing 50 years old, who unfortunately for many of his fans and himself has not contributed to the culture in meaningful and relevant ways in quite a while at this point. And I think that bricked his brain. He already was like very obviously not all there, and surrounded by sycophants who lean into his worst motivations, who allow him to go crazy like this. He's just basically popping off, desperately trying to garner as much attention as he possibly can. And we're kind of giving it to him, but not in the way that he wants it to happen. You know, that's it. Can you explain how Candace Owens played a role in this? In Kanye West's most vulnerable moments, Candace Owens was literally constantly stuck to his ass cheeks, okay? A lot of people don't remember this. This was all the way back in like 2018, if I'm not mistaken. It was the first time he had a crash out. Van Lathan, I forget how to say his name, I'm sorry, famously had that TMZ argument with him where he was saying like slavery is a mindset, where he was basically unwinding, where he first started doing the MAGA shit. That was when he was linked up with Candace Owens. And Candace Owens was nonstop pumping his brain with, like, at first some Hotep stuff, and then later directly neo-Nazi shit. Okay? I've talked about this at the time. I remember talking about this at the time because I can't reveal my sources, but I also had some people that, especially when he went to Africa, when he did his Africa tour, I know some people that were there with him. And they explained to me how shocking it was and how much more shit that he's openly saying now, he was saying 7 years ago. Okay? He was saying all this stuff behind closed doors, and then he's now voluntarily revealing this stuff now. Okay? That's it. Nope. Get back. That's crazy. So the reality of the matter is, this is kind of the trajectory. It's kind of the trajectory that Kanye West has been on for almost the past decade. Okay? When does the fun start? I'm getting depressed. I mean, this is like drama adjacent stuff. Down. So he's never been this openly pro-Nazi, but what are you doing? Hey, down. That's crazy. She being crazy today. Why can't she get out of bed? Because she wants to lay on the ground and it's bad for her joints. She's a big girl. Anyway, I used to be woke too. I like that being woke now is just saying being anti-Nazi. Like, that's what wokeness has gotten to. Cancel culture is now when you want to say that like a federal government employee shouldn't be on the timeline talking about, deporting every Indian. That's cancel culture. Okay. If you say, hey, this like 19, 20-year-old was tweeting about how we should deport every Indian and we should normalize Indian hate. Okay. 2 weeks before assuming the role of controlling the treasury, right? Like maybe that's not the best possible person to hire for the job. That's cancel culture. And now woke is when you're like, say no to Nazis. You know what the worst part is? The album gonna suck? Yeah, 100%. If he could rest on his laurels, he wouldn't be doing this shit anyway. That's it. You do this kind of stuff when what do hacky ass comedians do? When they don't have good material, when they feel like they're out of touch, what do? They hit the exact same button. They try to be as edgy as possible because that drives reactions. Okay? If you're desperate for attention, you can always hit that cancel culture vein. You can always say like edgy shit. Okay? You have access to every Nazi on their talents and worth on the company, not on what they're doing. To be honest, this shit's incredibly sad. Bro has kids. Yeah, that's the other side of the story, which is like he's 50 years old. He has children at this point who can see him doing this kind of stuff. And it's just like, it's so lame. It's so corny. It's so sad. I don't know. I mean, he is just actively manic posting on the timeline up and down. He's about to be 50 soon, and he's still doing this stuff. Yeah, there's not really much else I can say about it. Yesterday, the White Lives Matter tee sold the most. They'll buy all this Louis Vuitton owned by a French dude, but y'all mad. Okay. Now, the thing that's also, I guess, like, if I were to do some systemic analysis here, some systemic critique here, I think one of the major issues with this kind of hog behavior, is that it does have a tendency to normalize other people coming out this way, because there are plenty of people who want clout. There are plenty of people who want attention. So they go, oh, well, Kanye's doing it. I'm going to do it too. And then there's also plenty of people.
Hey, everyone.
There are also plenty of people who personally agree with this kind of attitude, and they see that as a perfect way to come out and actively try to make this more of a normal attitude to have. Okay, like you just do the way this works is like when Elon Musk hits that Sig Heil, and there's a lot of discourse, and he gets no punishments, no penalties for it as the wealthiest, most powerful person on the planet. That creates an environment where a lot more people will feel comfortable doing this kind of thing. Okay, and guess what? Kanye also contributes to that and has contributed to that. And that's precisely what's happening.
It's over. It's cooked. GG. All the words that you can use to describe a situation that's beyond the point of no return. It's
Hassan, thank you for not feeding the narrative that Kanye's acting like this due to bipolar 1 disorder. I was diagnosed with it in 2017. No, the only thing that contributes to it is like, it obviously, when you're bipolar, yes, you are more vulnerable, more susceptible to outside influences like this, but it's still him doing it. You know what I mean? He's like, not everyone with bipolar disorder that goes out and becomes a Nazi. Okay. Like, people actively work to control their urges. And I think that Kanye West, especially given the media blackout that he engaged in his spiraling in the past, like, this is not the first time he's doing it. This is the second time he's doing it very publicly. Okay. And the stakes are constantly raised. So obviously there is a separate narcissistic tendency here where he obviously wants to garner attention by doing this. It's not because he's bipolar, although that feeds into him being vulnerable, I think, especially alongside his narcissism and his tendency to push away people that are like criticizing him or critical of him in his own orbit, that try to reach out to him and preserve his mental sanity. Okay. But it's clear that, like, especially considering the times where he hasn't behaved like this prominently, and the suspicious nature of the suspicious nature of how he came out recently again and started popping off like this again right before he decides to like release an album or sell some merchandise or whatever, it shows me that he's doing this for a very specific, very deliberate, very nefarious purpose, which is to garner more attention. Sean Bids, thank you for the raid. Hope you had a good stream. Congratulations on all the money that you raised on your PCRF fundraiser. You're the GOAT.
Too far. It's too far gone. He's too far gone. It's over with. This is the official close of the Kanye chapter. See, the thing is, right, Kanye West, when he used to be contrarian, he would try to accompany it with some level of thought, you know. All of those arguments that he had maybe, I don't know, what was it, 7 years ago, where he's on TMZ, and even those were horrible, but it seemed to stem not just out of some like maybe temper tantrum or some want to be noticed so badly that you're literally saying anything. It seemed as if, at least back then, though those arguments were terrible, he was trying to articulate his point. I'm not blaming the fans. I'm not. Y'all don't have control over what Kanye West says. You aren't going to be the needle. But a lack of engagement, I think, is what's required when you see people doing things like this. Kanye West is incapable. Yes, Kanye West is incapable of making noise musically currently. He has no ideas, nothing thought-provoking, nothing left in the...
Exactly. And when you're like an incredibly influential artist for most of your life, I think that bricks your brain. Straight up. So you try to hit the lowest common denominator nonsense that garners maximum amounts of attention. Okay? And that's where he is. That's currently where he is. Exactly. Like, the Nazi stuff is a weird situation because on the one hand, it's incredibly dangerous to normalize this kind of rhetoric. Okay, that's one. Number two, he does have this ideological leaning for sure. Okay, make no mistake. But the reason why he's coming out like this is not because of mental illness, even though that is a contributing factor. Okay, the reason why he's coming out like this is because he wants attention and he doesn't know how to get it with his art. He doesn't have motion anymore. He can't dictate fashion trends. He can't dictate music trends. He's completely far removed from rap as a medium. His artistic expression is not up to par. Like, I feel like if you made him listen to like a one Osama song or whatever, he would snap back to reality almost. Like, it would break his brain so hard. Like, a lot of where rap is going right now with, you know, underground artists and underground music. No, not Bin Laden, man. Osama's son. Like one Plaque Max collaboration stream would just destroy his brain. And it's interesting because he also recognizes that as well to a certain degree, because I saw him tweeting about how he just like doesn't listen to rap anymore because it's lame. He only listens to Wagner. He says his favorite rapper is Miles.
Tank musically, because if he did, this level of expression wouldn't be coming out.
How do you know about Osama's son? Okay, dude. Just because I'm an old man who doesn't listen to any music whatsoever doesn't mean that I'm not like keeping up with things that are happening in the world. Okay, calm down.
On Twitter, it will be coming out through song. Now, just because Kanye is a musician, it doesn't mean that the only medium in which he can express himself is through music. It just doesn't appear to be a coincidence that the music quality has significantly dropped over the last 5 years. He's no longer in that musical GOAT conversation. He's dropping trailer after trailer and snippet after snippet of this AI bullshit all over his social media, trying to garner attention and noise, and nobody's biting at the bait. Now my guy's just saying anything. And it's sad, you know. I'm not telling you to feel bad for Ye either. I don't believe this is one of those like mental breakdowns or one of those episodes. I genuinely think that he is so beyond the point.
You mean Wagner or Varg Vikernes? Both. But Wagner, he tweeted about Wagner. He said like, oh, I only listen to classical compositions from Wagner. He's the best, because he wasn't you know, broken by the Jews or whatever. He's just doing Nazi dog whistles on every aspect, including his music. It's so stupid.
Of just being creative and putting together a thought-provoking song that he's resorted to having to be acknowledged via Twitter by saying literally anything. It doesn't have to come from a thought. It doesn't have to come from a deep-seated emotion. It doesn't have to come from something that he's been sitting with for a while. Anything. It's basically Kanye's rage bait. That's it. He wants attention. He can't get it through music because for whatever reason, I'm not going to say he's not talented enough to produce records that would get people talking, but he hasn't done so over the last 5 years. People that aren't hardcore fans, his genius, quote unquote, has not been acknowledged to that extent musically. I'm not saying that people don't still like his merchandise, but the allure of Kanye West clothing doesn't seem to be as hype as it was 5-6 years ago. So when no one's talking about Kanye or bro wants some attention,
those are not dog whistles, my guy. He's selling a shirt with a swastika on it. That's blatant. No. I'm saying, like, even I know it's blatant. But I'm saying even when he's talking about like music, like every aspect of it is just like pro-Nazi. Everything he tweets about is like about how much he loves Adolf Hitler. Dude, I don't know how to explain this to you. It is because he is washed. That's it. He is so washed and so desperate for attention that he knows this is the last thing you can do. There is the only thing you can do that is worse than this if you actively come out in support of like pedophilia or something. Okay? That's it. That's the last move that he's got in the tank. Okay? The one thing he hasn't pulled on yet is you know, saying he loves Adolf Hitler is basically second to last before you hit the full Monty. Okay? That's it. Then why would he have the same views 5 years ago? I think he was at least like somewhat cognizant and had more motion still because he was just recently coming out and saying he's like pro Maga, pro Trump, whatever. Okay? So he didn't feel the need to just go balls to the wall. I guess technically he did hit a free Diddy. So he did do that as well. Yeah, he had like contracts with Adidas. Like he had the wherewithal to recognize that, like, you know, on the one hand, he could probably get more attention with his music. He probably still believed that he could get more attention with his music. Okay, that was one aspect of it. On the other hand, I think, on the other hand, maybe he hadn't like fully flushed out his insane perspective, right? List he had color coded was crazy on TMZ. Yeah, this is the funniest tweet about this process, I think. Yeah, him coming out and being like, I love Hitler, now what, bitches? And this is the best tweet for it. Okay, so does 30% of the site. You're not special anymore. Exactly. Like, it's not even hot. Yeah, now what, dude? I can't believe you said you love Nazis on the Nazi platform. Like, here, this in and of itself shows that this doesn't garner the same level of attention anymore because it's not even special. Now, obviously, I look at that as a broader problem, a cultural problem, a societal problem that is really consequential and really significant, will genuinely lead to a lot of issues down the line. Okay? But having said that, ultimately, you ain't special. I mean, these guys are getting hired. Guys with opinions like this are getting hired to the federal government right now. Okay?
He pops out to the Grammys with his half-naked wife. Definitely feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember the last time Kanye West went to the Grammys. When an NBA player wants to be acknowledged, he performs well in his games. When a producer wants to be acknowledged, he shuts his whole ass up and makes some drums. When a chef wants to be acknowledged, he goes in the fucking kitchen. But when a creatively self-neutered Kanye West wants to get attention, he goes to Twitter. That makes...
I think Kanye would have been more impactful if after all of the instances where he got Bianca naked, he went to the Grammys and he was butt-ass naked and she was dressed up. But he's got no creative juice. He's got no motion. It's tapped out. Okay? If he came out there with like a sock on his dick and just walked that goddamn red carpet and Bianca was like dressed up, people will be like, damn, that's crazy. I can't believe he did that. But guess what? That would require a little bit of critical thinking. That would require some creativity. Okay? He doesn't have the meat for it. You don't know that. But my point is, he's got no emotion. He's got no aura. He's got no new opinions. He's just looking for bottom of the barrel nonsense. Look at me. I'm dominating my wife that looks like Kim Kardashian. Okay, free Bianca. Yeah, I saw that TikTok where a lady was talking about if Bianca had Bush, it would have been art. I agree. That's another great take. Like, I think if Bianca came out and had just like the meatiest bush of all time on that fit, all of a sudden, art. Okay? That's another take. You all of a sudden turn it around. You're now a trendsetter. Okay? People are talking about how is Bush coming back? Okay? He's a steak rage bait Twitter account in celebrity form. Yeah. My point is, all of that requires some kind of forethought, you know? But he's got none of that anymore. He's not interested in making something unique or different. Okay? He is interested in rage baiting. That's it. That's it. And if that's all you can get, is all you're capable of doing, inevitably people are going to go, this is kind of mid. This is no longer interesting. Okay? This is no longer interesting. This is kind of mid. This is boring. And it is. It's desperate. It's lame. It's boring.
No fucking sense. The guy who's produced some of the greatest records you've heard in your life, who's been acknowledged in the fashion industry, his creative juices are so sapped up that instead of creating better material, he'd rather resort to I love Hitler tweets. I think it's up to the people to do better and just not unironically engage with him. I've seen people on Twitter trying to argue back and forth with Kanye West in this moment. He doesn't give a fuck what you're talking about. He just cares that you're engaging. He just cares that people are seriously.
This is also another telltale sign that someone is right-wing, okay? You see this shit? Y'all seeing this shit? Okay? The moment that you put on, I mean, it's not Oakley's, right? It's a different brand, but it's got the Oakley style. The moment that you put skin-tight Oakleys on, and it's just creating little meat flaps, all right? It's done. You got the wraparounds looking like those are the wife beater 7s, okay? Those are the domestic abuser 7s. You put them shits on, you've gone right wing, okay? You got the meat creases, dude. It's over. You're tactically ascertaining whether or not you're about to commit a felony, okay? You're about to have a kinetic moment with a teenager. Never seen a guy with positive aura rocking the fucking wife beaters like that.
Trying to dismantle his points. There are no points. There's nothing you have to argue against. He doesn't care what's coming out of his mouth, and neither should you. But these should be reasons why you should rescind support. These should be reasons why you should look at Kanye West and be like, damn, you're that drained creatively that as opposed to making better art, you'd rather tweet in order to get attention. How sad, how little, how low. You're saying fuck Virgil. Dude, I can't even take you serious. Everything that I've had to say about Kanye West has not changed. I could apply the exact same things I said about Kanye in a video from 2, 3, 4 years ago and apply them right now, and it would still fit. Nobody needs a monologue or a video essay to tell them that the things that Kanye West was saying are unforgivable, irredeemable. You shouldn't say these no words. But Kanye exists currently just in opposition of what people think so that he can garner attention. That's it. The music has been scattered, unable to speak for itself or prove itself for years now. And I think it's up to his fans to genuinely just reach a breaking point. How far are you willing to go? How much are you willing to be pushed? What more do you need to see? What more does he need to say? The line in the sand has been.
I think also maybe this is like him testing the waters a little bit too. Like, yeah, I think he really, really, really wants attention. That's number one. But also, I think he is desperate to see, like, I think his narcissism creates this unique predicament where he's like, What can I say and still maintain a fan base? I think that's probably the other side of this as well, which is like, I'm going to say the most unhinged shit to garner as much attention as possible. But I wonder if I can like say this stuff and still maintain a loyal fandom. I guess that's part of it too. Well, being Nazi is cool now? No, I don't think so. I don't agree with that. Okay. I don't agree with that at all. Fell off after late registration. I also think the music industry is interested in the answer to this question as well for monetary purposes. But like, he's not, I don't even think he's not putting out bangers. He's not getting rewarded. I think he ultimately would need to put out really good music. And if you have really good music, then you wouldn't need to do this anyway. Like you said, dumb people might follow Kanye's trolling. You could say Kanye is the dumb person following Elon's trolling. The Overton window shifts right. I mean, he was doing this before Elon. Maybe he's getting paid. No, he's not. He's not. He's getting rewarded if he sold 800K off a t-shirt though. You guys are, dude, he sold 3,000 units. He's fucking Kanye West. Are you kidding me? That's nothing. That's literally like streamer merchandise drop number. What are you talking? He's Kanye West. This man, yeah, he sold $800,000 worth of shirts and he made $60,000. But I looked at the number of units he actually sold, and the number of units he sold was like 3,000. Do you understand how little that is for someone like Kanye West? That's Kanye West. 10 years ago, Kanye West is changing fashion, okay? Playing whether you like him or not, playing a significant and active role in changing fashion trends at the global stage. Now he's literally doing Twitch streamer merchandise numbers. That's it. Like, that is low for Kanye. That's my point. Okay? Like, it's a decent number of units that you sold, but understand that that is definitely very low for someone like Kanye West. Like, he made people wear those ugly ass Yeezys, dude. Think about that. He sold more Yeezys. Ye knows the truth hurts. Yeah. Is it possible he's just actually a Nazi? Wait, no, he is. I'm not saying he's not. What do you mean? He's openly saying he loves Adolf Hitler. That, like, what? He is that. He has become that for sure. I'm just simply explaining to you like why he's doing that on top of the fact that he is that. Okay? He definitely is that. But the reason why he's also doing that right now is because he's got nothing in the tank. He's got nothing creatively in the tank. And when you got nothing in the tank, what do? If your job revolves around the attention economy, okay? If your job revolves around garnering as much attention as possible so you can consider yourself to be an influential person. Like, he went from being an artist to being an influencer, okay? He leveled down, and not even like a cool influencer. He went from being an artist, a cherished, well-celebrated, well-respected artist, to being a kick streamer. It is the bottom of the barrel. Why do you think all these kick streamers do shit like this all the time? It's because they don't know anything else. They don't know any other way of getting attention. Okay? Like, he devolved. He's washed. That's it. Do you understand? That's what you do. Why do you think when celebrities, for example, fall out of favor or whatever, or are outed as like sex pests, or are outed as sex criminals like Russell Brand, they literally fucking hit the right wing button as hard as they possibly can? Why do they do that? Because they know that there's like a captive audience there that will respond positively to them. Okay? That's why they do that. It's the oldest trick in the book at this point. And he's doing it too. And he's been doing it.
Drawn. You either gonna be on one side or the other. And you can't tell me that Kanye West is putting out anything for you to dive onto his side of the sand for. That's the fucked up part about a lot of people that are fans. You don't even have anything to currently attach yourself to. Nothing recent that he's come out with that you would need to say, nah, I can never let him go. Ain't none of that He Made Graduations, bitch. That was 2007. It's almost 20 years ago. Let it go. Hey, bro, you niggas gotta move on. I'm sorry. He's done miracles on me, not today. He's not lost. He's not going through a breakdown. He's a coward who's currently running away from his inability to create. It's so odd that he had such a fixation on Drake's downfall this summer when it seems he shares Drake's issue in this inability to acknowledge yourself as the problem. The issue is always external with these people. Are you that big-headed right now? Have people fed your ego to that level? I'm not gonna call it a fall off, but you know, I don't know if it was Ice Cube or whoever said it, that you get like 3, 4, 5 years in your prime as like a rapper where you're popping and nobody can fuck with you. And to Kanye's credit, he's been relevant and popping for like way longer than that. And that level of visibility.
Dude, this one chatter has just been desperately going, bro, Asmongold's talking about you. Asmongold's talking mad shit about you. Okay, man, what do you want me to do? Like, all right, cool.
Ability and constant admiration.
Who
I think
cares?
has helped feed into this idea that he has of himself, where he's entitled to the people's support, where he's entitled to the people.
Everyone's like, bro, you gotta get in there, dude. You gotta do some drama, dude.
People's engagement and interest, and he doesn't have to work for it.
Bro, Asmongold yesterday said U.S. aid was paying Politico to do Gamergate articles. Okay? Fuck you mean? Like, what are you talking about, dude? He said USAID was paying Politico to write about Gamergate, to come after gamers. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. If that's where you're getting your notes from, like, you're gonna be wrong. Okay? What has USAID ever done for Asmongold, though? No, USAID has ruined his life. They attacked him by making titties smaller in video games. Okay? Also, half the time, Asmongold isn't even talking shit. He'll just literally hit a line where he'll say something that's critical and then immediately turn around and be like, but I actually agree with Hassan. And chatters will come in here specifically to be like, dude, Asmongold's talking mad shit. He's so fucking mad at you, dude. It's time. You got to fucking respond to him. You got to come after him. You got to destroy him in the marketplace of ideas right now. And it's like, it's only because you just want drama. I don't care. I don't care what Asmongold has to say. Okay? Unless it's about USAID doing Gamergate, in which case that's very funny and also incredible political commentary. Okay? What? Saw the Hassan video now. There is nothing, bro. I am kind of disappointed. Lel. What are you? What? You smile? I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. You literally just did the example Hassan is talking about? Yeah. Yeah. He said USAID wronged him personally and they must suffer. And journalists wronged him personally with Gamergate and that they must suffer. That's an amazing take, I think. That is, in my opinion, that is peak political commentary. It's like actually unironically way more interesting in terms of political commentary than anything else a million Brett Stevens could come up with. Okay, give that man a New York Times op-ed slot right now, right this moment. I need to hear more about how USAID is doing Gamergate.
And to a certain degree, they've proven that he doesn't need to work for it. They've shown that regardless of whatever it is that you do, regardless of whatever it is that you say, I'm going to listen to that next album. I'm going to listen to that next body of work. I'm going to tune into your next musical endeavor. I'm going to buy your merchandise. I don't care what you say on Twitter. I'm still going to support. And don't get me wrong. I know there are fans. There are diehards. There are people that are lost in his sauce. I get it. But Kanye West has not dropped a piece of merchandise that you would need to buy since like 2020. How many of y'all still use your stem? Where do you take it? You don't feel like a loser? That's the MP3 version of an Apple Watch. You're a loser. I just don't think it's too much to ask or to demand as a fan. I can't listen to an artist that does this. And it's not like this is they don't take their trash to the front on Monday, or he didn't wash his hands that one time he left the bathroom. Still disgusting, by the way. I see a lot of you niggas. Is not being a Nazi apologist too much to ask? That's kind of about all I feel.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that people will go to that length. Anthony Fantano says Kanye West is a disgusting loser. People are still mad at him for this take, by the way, which is pretty funny. Like, people still... I saw people on Twitter being like, yo, you're obsessed with him, dude. Anthony Fantano is obsessed. It's like, what are you saying, big dog? What are you saying? Oh, there is also one interesting take from Bullsman that I kind of agree with that I've talked about before. Elon and Kanye share a CIA lawyer, Alex Spiro, who played a key role in the decision-making early on as Elon took over Twitter, perhaps even more so than Elon by one account. Despite Elon's open servitude to Israel, Twitter has become a hive of Nazi propaganda since his takeover. Now, I don't care about like the lawyer connection, but I do think it's very odd. I do think it's very odd that there is a lot of prominence to be offered to you if you say unhinged anti-Semitic stuff. And a lot of the people who say unhinged anti-Semitic things, who also then will turn around and act like they are anti-Israel, are the names that you hear of the most. I feel like there's a concerted effort to basically make it seem as though most of the anti-Israel commentary actually comes from people who are also anti-Semitic. This is something that I've noticed and something that I've actually criticized quite a bit, whether it be Myron from Fresh and Fit, okay, whether it be Dan Bilzerian or numerous other people that get a lot of prominence from the likes of Piers Morgan and many other outlets, okay? It is weird, okay? It's also weird that people sometimes talk about that Jake Shields, that fucking nurse doctor woman who's like very clearly an anti-Semite. Now, of course, on the one hand, I think that anti-Semitism is not seen as big as a threat as being anti-Israel is, right? From a lot of our institutions. Clearly, that's not the case. Clearly, if that was the case, then the ADL would be coming after the likes of, Donald Trump or Elon Musk way more aggressively. Okay? Don't you think? But the ADL will regularly go after people who are obviously overtly anti-Semitic, every now and then, like Kanye. This one is a classic example, okay? This is just a way to beef up your bona fides, to say like, oh no, I'm in this to still attack anti-Semitism. If you were in the combating anti-Semitism game, you'd probably be saying a lot more about the likes of Elon Musk hitting a fucking Sig Heil, for example, instead of defending him because he is pro-Israel. So for me, I think that basically a lot of the most prominent anti-Israeli accounts are being openly anti-Semitic on the timeline. It cannot be an accident. It works in two different ways. On the one hand, when anti-Semitism grows and festers in the Western world, then Israel can continue to say, look at how anti-Semitic the world is. We have to have a Jewish ethno-state. Okay, we must have a Jewish ethno-state. Otherwise, no Jews around the world are ever going to be truly secure and safe. Okay, that's part of the reason why Benjamin Netanyahu actively will collaborate with anti-Semitic fascist movements all around the world. The other side of this also is that you can then partner and pair up anti-Semitism and anti-Israel takes by saying, look, all the most prominent anti-Israel accounts, all the most prominent anti-Israel people are rabid anti-Semites. Okay? That's why I've often maintained the position that someone like myself who actively combats anti-Semitism, who is also anti-Israel, is a far greater threat to these institutions that are tasked with defending Israel than someone who is openly anti-Semitic and anti-Israel. Because when you're openly anti-Semitic and anti-Israel, then you can just go, yeah, this guy fucking hates Jews. Like, look at him. It's very clear. That's why he hates Israel. Okay? But when it's someone like myself, it's going to be really hard. It's going to be really hard for you to actively try to maintain this position that my criticism of Israel is not coming from the fact that I have an understandable moral position on the invention and maintenance of an apartheid regime that is built around religious and ethnic supremacy in an identical fashion to previous fascist movements, that is doing a genocide. I think that is unacceptable, okay? All of a sudden, that becomes a much larger problem, okay? That's a much larger problem because you can't present an argument as easily as, well, that guy is anti-Semitic. And I mean, there it is. He tweeted out Heil Hitler again. Okay. That's the end finish. Just check his tweet out right now. Jesus Christ. What do you mean? This is not new, chat. What are you talking about? He's tweeted out Heil Hitler like 25 times in the past like 48 hours. What are you talking about? He's spamming it. I think this is a desperate and very sad ploy for attention. Do I believe that he personally thinks this way? This is his ideological position? Yes. Do I believe that his mental health complications made him more susceptible to this kind of ideology from a charismatic figure in his corner, Clandis Owens? Okay, absolutely. Having said that, however, the major contributor to him doing this is his desperate ploy for garnering attention. He can't do it by making music. Okay, he is trying to still be as relevant as he can. He can't do this by making music, so he's trying to do it by, consistently glazing Adolf Hitler. That's it. It's sad. But yeah, I have noticed that so many prominent anti-Israel accounts, especially on Twitter, are also rabid anti-Semites. Do Aindin Ross really want to interview? What a strange world we live in, where this random corner of the internet that we exist in is becoming more prominent and more involved in the broader culture. And it's happening in the worst ways possible. You know what I mean? We are in the bad timeline. But let's hear what Anthony Fantano has to say.
Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. I hope you're doing well. Here I am with another one of these videos. Yep, these videos here, these videos that I'm tired of doing, they seem like they are too big and annoying and obnoxious to ignore, but simultaneously, I don't really know what there is to add to this topic at this point. That topic being Kanye West and the continually ridiculous, harmful, and outlandish things that he says on a regular basis, specifically on his Twitter account, where recently he has dropped such hits as, I'm a Nazi. Yeah, he's literally saying it again. He's saying it again. He has said it before.
I'm a Nazi.
He is reiterating it one more time, really screaming it out for those in the back who refuse to face facts in terms of where his head and ideology are currently at. Yeah, I mean, as of the time I am filming this video, he has really been tweeting for hours, saying things like, I channeled Andrew Tate on a few of those tweets, as well as my favorite tweet tonight was about woke fat bitches. He also posted an often shared old black and white photo of him where he's wearing this t-shirt that has a swastika on it with a cross through it. And he himself says, I used to be woke too. Again, making it clear that whatever sort of mindset he was in when he was wearing that shirt, no longer in it. At one point, he even stated that he has a dominion over his wife, Bianca, who has been catching a lot of heat and criticisms as of late due to her recent public appearances with Ye, where she is just completely and utterly naked. Hitler was so fresh, and y'all call me Yadolf Hitler, and your bitch still wants to fuck. I mean, who truly knows what is in this man's heart and how far this political ideology rabbit hole goes down for Kanye? He does have a really big history of just being a contrarian and embracing whatever kind of goes against what he perceives as the grain around him, socially speaking. He even launched a tweet here where he says, I could say Jew as much as I want and Hitler as much as I want. Matter of fact, I do say it when I want. He's still saying all of it. He's still a moron. And honestly, I don't really know if that's any better than him actually being a Nazi. I mean, he's either embracing it in order to be edgy and go against what he thinks everybody wants him to believe or feel or give into, or he's embracing it because he genuinely believes in the perspective. Either are bad and disqualifying. At one point, he even advocated for freeing P. Diddy, which also has not gone over very well with a lot of his fans. fans and people in the hip hop community as a result of, you know, the evidence against Diddy being stacked up so high that pretty much everybody is of the opinion that he is very much guilty of all, if not just a great deal of what he is currently arrested for. But again, Kanye does also have a history for standing in support of people who have some pretty damning sexual abuse allegations against them.
Yeah, free Diddy is what I was just saying, right? Like, it's the final stage. Like, the last line that you can hit, is basically saying that you're like pro pedophilia. Free Jeffrey Epstein. It's the final, it is the final form. Oh man, that's gonna get clipped. Wait, what? Wait, what are you talking about? Someone's gonna clip that out of context? Wait, what did I say? Like, it is the one thing worse than being an out and about Nazi. Like, that's what is the only thing that is a like more ridiculous thing that you could say other than saying that you love Adolf Hitler? Saying that you are pro pedophilia. Okay? That's it. That's it.
And again, just to stress and reiterate to cover my bases, these are allegations, and we're going to see whatever happens with Diddy play out in a court of law, most likely. But yeah, again, a lot of zaniness that is difficult to ignore, but simultaneously there's
chat. When you mention clipping, people look up the chat transcript for clip and then make their clip. Yeah, what are you gonna do? I mean, it is obvious that people have completely decided to no longer try to understand context whatsoever and are very deliberately doing smear campaigns. You know, it's crazy because I'll address something that was clipped out of context, offer the context, and then the reaction will literally be to clip me out of context again, like remove the context that I'm addressing. This is part of the reason why many people don't want to actually address these issues face to face and will resort to, will demand that you watch shit, okay? So they can continue driving the narrative in whichever direction they want to their audience, then, and consistently poison the well. That's it, you know?
There's not really a whole lot to say about it, truly and honestly. It's right here in black and white. It doesn't run that deep. It is what it is, and it's totally embarrassing for both Kanye and Kanye fans, and even just anybody who has to observe him acting this way alike. Again, whether it's because he feels this way, or he wants to be edgy, or he just is trying to drum up interest in his forthcoming album cycle, it's all bad. There's no reason or justification for any of this. I mean, it's gotten so awful that previous collaborators like JPEG Mafia have had to tweet in order to distance himself from it. And currently right now on Twitter, there is a headline that says, Kanye West's autism diagnosis separating behavior from diagnosis. Like, why do we need to have this discourse as if being autistic is a prerequisite for having a Nazi crash out on Twitter? Clearly, there is much more than being on the spectrum going on with this man. And the only silver lining to this cloud right now is that it does seem like on some level that even his most sycophantic supporters who were like really there with him through the Vultures album cycle and so on and so forth are now becoming disillusioned with his behavior and his commentary at this point. So, I mean, I guess that's at least somewhat of a saving grace as a result of all this. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say. I think that,
yeah, it's crazy. It's just so obvious. It's so obvious what's happening, and it's kind of sad. It's sad to see so many people like still actively trying to, you know, make this seemingly work. I don't know. Apparently Ye is gonna talk to Aiden Ross soon or something. I don't know. It's just like people farming. It's basically just people farming clout all the way down, you know? I don't think there's any hope of him changing until maybe when his children are older. Yeah, I mean, you just gotta give it up, you know? You just gotta let it go, man. I don't know. You have to let it go. I don't know why people are so deeply invested in this. I don't understand it. Elon, there were no deep state subversives in there. Just nice people sending food and medicine to hungry, sick folks. Blow it up anyway. Okay, dude, isn't Aiden Jewish? Yes, but okay, Aiden is Jewish. So what? He's literally had Nick Fuentes and Sneeko, both are obviously openly anti-Semitic, on his broadcast numerous times, where they convinced him that the Holocaust was fake, dude. Like, what are you talking about? He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't give a shit about anything. He just cares about clout. Scoring a massive interview with Kanye West is infinitely more important. If he's going to farm clout off of Nick Fuentes and Sneeko, he's going to farm clout off of Kanye. Are you kidding me? I think for a lot of people, they don't think about the impact of this either. Like, they don't think about the consequences of this sort of thing. They don't think about like what this does in terms of normalizing being a Nazi in political discourse. Like, what kind of ramifications can come from that? People are just not thinking clearly about this at all. That's it. Kanye is massively influential to young people, hopefully less so in time. I don't think he has that kind of motion any longer. I don't think Kanye West has that level of skill. He deleted a giant tweet about the Matrix bullshit. What? Yeah. Also, yeah, here, speaking of Nazis, a group of neo-Nazis tried to have a march in Cincinnati, and the locals had some fun with it.
I'm out. Out of here! Get the fuck out of here! Fuck y'all flag! Hitler been dead. Y'all living in the 40s.
Hitler been dead. Y'all living in the 40s.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm sure the Nazi shitheads had to go and cry to the police that their items were stolen. You know? Classic. Serious question. Where did they get those flags? What company is making Nazi flags? I actually don't know. I don't know where the fuck they get it from. Someone's making them though. Shopify selling it proudly. I doubt that I'm sure you could probably, call it out and they'll take it off the website. It's easy to print. You can order any prints online, I guess. Someone making the Hassan American flags? Yeah, I doubt it. Is Shopify run by Nazis? No. They just don't care. Anyway, let's get to the judge blocking DOGE from accessing personal data at the Treasury. There's a new court block.
Overnight, a federal judge blocking Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency from accessing sensitive Treasury Department records, including the personal data of millions of Americans. The judge issuing a preliminary injunction after 19 states sued President Trump and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, saying they violated federal law by giving Musk's team access to the data.
Elon is doing a great job. He's finding tremendous fraud and corruption and waste.
And in another legal blow, a federal judge Friday pausing the administration's plan that would have put thousands of USAID workers on administrative leave last night, leaving as few as 611 essential employees. The White House accusing the agency of wasteful spending. It came just hours after the agency's name was scraped from its headquarters.
When you look at USAID, that's a fraud. The whole thing is a fraud.
Unions representing the workers sued to block the leave order, saying President Trump doesn't have the authority to stop the agency's work.
Assistance doesn't move from a warehouse into the mouths of hungry people by magic. It moves because brave men and women put themselves in really difficult circumstances in order to move that food.
During a Friday news conference, Trump also answered questions about the list of all FBI agents involved in the January 6th investigations demanded by his Justice Department.
I'll fire some of them because some of them were corrupt. I have no doubt about that.
Also overnight, the president taking to Truth Social, announcing he's revoking former President Joe Biden's security clearance, adding Biden could not be trusted with sensitive information.
Now, Trump also said he's ending former President Biden's intel briefings, a courtesy traditionally afforded to former presidents. Mr. Trump saying in his social media post that Biden did the same to him in 2021. at that time pointing to Trump's, quote, erratic behavior. Laura?
Of course, President Biden was not indicted for hoarding classified information. Aaron, just last night, more firings by President Trump. What can you tell us about those?
Well, President Trump fired the head of the National Archives last night, keeping a campaign promise there. And as you sort of referenced, Laura, that agency alerted the Justice Department in 2022 that Trump had potentially mishandled classified documents when he failed to return records that the agency had requested. Now, Trump also said he's dismissing the Board of Trustees at the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, and he's installing himself as chairman of the new board. The Kennedy Center released a statement saying in part that it is made up of a bipartisan board of trustees that has supported the arts in a nonpartisan fashion. Each member is supposed to serve a 6-year term, Laura.
All right, Aaron Gilchrist, thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching.
This week, President Trump proposed a U.S. takeover of the Gaza Strip, put tariffs on China while postponing those on Mexico.
Dude, my solution to this could have saved so much heartache. Just like giving Trump 24/7 access to like a TV show and not allowing him to be anywhere near the reins of power. It's win-win. He is constantly tweeting. Okay. He's funniest when he's doing that, when he's got no power, but all motion. It would have been great. He would have loved it. We would have adored it. We would have watched him nonstop. He would have made content. And now look at us. Look at where we are. Yeah, give him a Broadway show to produce, give him the arts, give him all the love and admiration that he desperately desires from the liberal elite. That's all he wants.
Mexico and Canada, and ban transgender athletes from women's sports.
God bless you, Mr. President.
This is straight out of the playbook from his first term. What his former advisor Steve Bannon calls...
I strongly believe in the flood the zone theory, which is just overwhelm the opposition. You pick all the different verticals you're going to, and you just drop the hammer. It's executive orders, executive action, all of this.
And so away from the press conferences, the real changes from this White House are happening behind the scenes. In particular, the work of Elon Musk, with concerns about his seemingly unfettered power inside the halls of government. Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, was created by executive order on Trump's first day in office, designed to modernize the government as well as cut costs. So far, Musk and his staff have embedded themselves at the Office of Personnel Management, the HR of the federal government, the General Services Administration, which manages government buildings, and USAID, the agency which distributes humanitarian aid. DOGE has also gained access to the databases at the Treasury and Health and Human Services. And President Trump has said that the department...
You have no riz on what happened, bro? What do you mean? No riz with Elon? It's true.
Departments of Education and Defense are next on the list.
Who are you, sir?
Do you have business here?
Democratic politicians tried to enter the Department of Education yesterday ahead of any infiltration from the so-called Muscovites, but they were stopped by a security guard. With Democrats in the minority in Congress, it seems the courts are the best opposition. A federal judge has halted attempts to shut down USAID, while another has stopped DOGE from accessing the financial data of Americans in the Treasury Department. That came after Democratic attorneys filed a lawsuit against the White House.
President Trump does not have the power to give our private...
Can you explain to me how one person stopped 100 elected officials from entering a building? Democrats have an inability to respond to authority in a negative way. If someone presents themselves as a position of authority, regardless of any kind of legal protections whatsoever that actually give them serious regulatory power, Democrats will literally just go, oh, oops, I guess we can't do this. That would be illegal, which it is not. What they're doing is illegal, but in that moment, they can't do anything. They're like, oh, well, there's cops inside. They'll arrest us. No, they won't. And even if they did, what do you think is going to happen? Apparently, those staffers are ignoring the court orders according to the federal employees on the inside. Yeah, the only time Democrats actually don't care about the authority of a court is if it's a court that is prosecuting Israel. Okay? That's it. That's the only time where they'll chirp and say this court has no power. If that court is the ICC or the ICJ.
Information away to whomever he wants. And he does not have the power to cut federal spending that Congress approved, much less to do so by giving the richest man in the world the keys to all Americans' most sensitive information.
The courts move slowly, and while critics say the unelected Musk is bypassing Congress entirely and acting unconstitutionally, it could take months for the wheels of justice to catch up with the fast-moving Musk. Just like with his takeover of Twitter, now X, Musk is unafraid to come in and clean out everything, bar the kitchen sink. And President Trump is happy to let him.
Mr. President, I wonder what you make of the criticism from Democrats that these staff reductions, the cuts that Elon Musk and DOGE are doing are an unlawful power grab. Is there anything you've told Elon Musk he cannot touch?
Well, we haven't discussed that much. I'll tell him to go here, go there. He does it. He's got a very capable group of people.
The big question for Democrats...
He's got the best racists. I love those little racists. They're calling them the Groypers. Very funny group of people. They said, normalize Indian hate. I tell them, I will normalize it.
And those worried whether the Constitution is being broken. It's what happens if even the courts cannot stop Trump and Musk. The vice president has hinted in the past that Trump could simply defy judges' decisions.
Of course, the president has to be able to run the government as he thinks he should. That's the way the Constitution works. It has been thwarted too much by the way our bureaucracy has worked over the past 15 years.
The Constitution also says the president must abide by legitimate Supreme Court rulings, doesn't it?
The Constitution says that the Supreme Court can make rulings, but if the Supreme Court, and look, I hope that they would not do this, but if the Supreme Court said the President of the United States can't fire a general, that would be an illegitimate ruling.
With the president away for the weekend, Washington can take a brief breath before another week of headlines, well aware that the next press conference or signing might just be a distraction from the seismic shifts happening away from the cameras.
I love it. Here, take this to the bank.
I'm Rana Epting. I'm with Move On. And on behalf of our millions of members that are incredibly upset about Elon messing around with this building back here, I want to thank you for joining us. But I've got some questions. Did Elon Musk win any electoral college votes this last November? Did Elon Musk have the authority to operate a secret government that has access to our social security numbers and our Medicaid checks? That's right. No one elected Elon Musk.
Hello, everybody. We have convened here in the right place, the Treasury Department. We have got to tell Elon Musk, nobody elected your ass. Nobody told you could get all of our private information.
We're here today because an unelected billionaire and his team have been given full and unfettered access to our taxpayer money and our government. We need to provide oversight to Elon Musk and his team. We don't know what they're doing behind these closed doors. Nothing good. The people deserve.
There's nothing funnier than someone being like, just dropping in to unfollow, just watched Asmongold react to a video of you. Dude, you're an Asmongold fan. Like, I don't even know why you were following me to begin with. Like, what? Okay. Like, I guess you're terrified of being outside of your echo chamber, you know? Oh no, I'm getting unfollowed by a swarm of Asmongold fans. Oh no, what am I supposed to, what will I do? Half the time people also follow because the only restriction they have in terms of talking in this community, talking in this chat, is the 10-minute follow restriction. Yeah. Wait a minute. I didn't know that you were pro-Palestinian and also a socialist. This is a bridge too far. I'm unfollowing you.
Transparency.
Every day that we show up in D.C., we show up for you. We know who we work for. We know that we work for the American people. And what we're not going to do is stand around while they pull this bullshit that they're trying to pull right now. We are not going to sit around while you go ahead and desecrate our Constitution. Instead, we are going to be in your face. We are going to be on your asses. And we are going to make sure,
Why do you support Islamic fundamentalist groups? I don't, unless you're talking about their actions against the apartheid genocidal state of Israel. If that's what you're saying, then yeah. It's like saying, oh, do you support Easy Company in World War II? That must mean that you love segregationist, homophobic, misogynistic people. That's what America was during World War II. But I have no issues supporting America's actions during World War II. Are you against America in World War II? I'm going to be honest with you. You probably are against America in World War II. Let's be real. Why are you pro-Nazi, chatter? Why are you anti-Allied forces?
Sure, you understand what democracy looks like. This ain't it.
We don't pledge allegiance to Elon Musk. We don't pledge allegiance to the creepy 22-year-olds working for Elon Musk. We pledge allegiance to the United States of America.
I am so tired of these billionaire boys and their grubby little hands grabbing at everything. Hands off our tax refunds. Hands off our Social Security checks. Hands off our Constitution. Hands off our democracy. Hands off.
Today, there was a press conference outside the Treasury Department where a lot of
I guess at least people are protesting. I don't know.
Democratic elected leaders, especially from the Oversight Committee, came out to say that they are going to be the resistance against what Elon Musk and Donald Trump are trying to do here, taking control of the Treasury payrolls. And what started as a pretty small crowd has grown to over maybe 1,000 people who are really angry at Elon Musk in particular and see an unelected
Okay,
billionaire
bro, what else should
coming
people be
in.
doing? No, I know. I that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's definitely limited. And I don't know what kind of impact this will have or if it will yield any sort of tangible results. But the real motion comes from court orders for the most part.
And effectively storming the federal government at cost to federal workers and the American citizenry. They are angry about that. And for all the talk about a lack of resistance forming in the wake of Trump's inauguration, this moment really feels like an inflection point where Democrats in particular have found their footing and they've found a message about economic populism and fundamental unfairness and the system being rigged. They found that message in a way that works for them that could be a real problem for Donald Trump. What's the mood among federal workers right now?
It's really funny because I think last time it was, this is an aberration and we're gonna, get through this and things will return to normal. And now it's more like, oh no, this is, this like we're in this for some kind of long haul. Who knows? Like, so it's much more. It feels very disempowering.
Are you guys getting work done? You're still working, right?
Yeah, we're working. I mean, I think the shifts that happen very quickly are destabilizing, but to the extent possible, we continue to do what we can.
It feels like for a while there hasn't been like an organized resistance with sort of energy and focus, and I don't know if I'm overstating the case here, but this feels like an inflection point for that.
This feels much more exciting than I think anything we've seen. Because I was thinking about this the other day. We feel like we have protests and they have rallies, and this feels like a rally. I mean, I've been in government nearly 20 years. I would like it to be more efficient, but not like this.
This ruling is absolutely insane. How on earth are we supposed to stop fraud and waste of taxpayer money without looking at how money is spent? That's literally impossible. Something super shady is going to protect scammers. Dog, you literally were celebrating abolishing the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau yesterday. What do you mean? Like, there is no, I don't even know what to say anymore. It's just like so obvious that these guys don't care about scams. You are the #1 rube if you believe that Elon Musk actually has your best interest in mind, New York Judge Paul Engelmeyer just forbade all political appointees, including the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, from accessing Department of Treasury data, all based on blue and on conspiracy theories. Those theories couldn't be challenged because the order was ex parte, meaning Trump's lawyers weren't warned and couldn't weigh in. Only Democrat attorneys general were allowed to argue. The judge cites no law or logic to support this unprecedented order because it defies both. The judge's ruling is, in essence, that Scott Bessent simply occupies a ceremonial position without real power, like the King of England. This is a grenade thrown in the functioning of the Treasury Department. It forbids the elected government from accessing information about budget and finances. It means Scott Bessent's subordinates have far more power than Scott Bessent does. Democrat pundits who whine about the Constitution are liars and will shred it in the first chance that they get. Meanwhile, your glazing an administration that tried to abolish a thing that is in the Constitution, which is birthright citizenship. So I don't know what we're talking about in terms of like constitutional interpretations or shredding the Constitution. Better yet, SCOTUS should bar this judge from ever hearing similar cases again, and every Democrat lawyer involved should be sanctioned. Blue checks confused by Elon not acting in their best interest. Oh yeah, I saw these arguments. What's wrong with the CFPB? They actually got consumer wins. CFPB announces the return of $1.8 billion in illegal junk fees to 4.3 million Americans harmed in massive credit repair scheme. What is the deal with the CFPB? I'm genuinely curious at Elon Musk. As a normal guy, can you please respond and tell me? I assumed it was created for our protection. I've used the CFPB after my bank was giving me the runaround, and I had a bunch of fraud charges that they wouldn't refund me after telling me they found them as fraudulent. Within a week, I had my money back. So explain to me how this doesn't benefit us as American citizens. This one just really baffles me, and I'd love an actual explanation. Yeah, not on board with this one, unless you bring some pretty damning evidence as to why. Do consumers not need to be protected? Wow. Wow, guys. I'm beginning to feel like this billionaire, I'm beginning to feel like this billionaire doesn't have the average Joe's best interest in heart. Perhaps they will understand eventually that when Elon Musk says he's combating fraud, he's just calling whatever he doesn't like fraud. Just like when Donald Trump says they're going after violent criminal migrants, they don't actually go after violent criminal migrants. Okay, they're going after all migrants that they can get their hands on, including documented migrants that they can get their hands on. That's it. They're just simply saying that because that is marketing. Okay, the problem is a lot of people hear someone that they agree with. Okay, they hear someone that they agree with that they think is defeating their ideological opponents, and they immediately drop all critical thinking and they just assume, oh yeah, well, this guy's saying that he's going after violent criminals, so I'm inclined to believe him. He must actually be going after violent criminals. And the second problem is when they're met with the reality that they're not just going after violent criminals, they still just end up doubling down. How do you know that? Is there any evidence? Yes, ProPublica actually came out with a report that out of the 8,200 migrants that have been deported so far, more than 50% of them actually have no criminal background whatsoever. And there are plenty of those who have a criminal charge that is marginal, inconsequential, would not ever lead to something as massive as deportation. Okay? Like trespass, like a trespass charge or a moving violation. But I thought they were just taking out all the violent criminal rapists and serial killers that were roaming the streets because I guess in the previous administration, they just refused to prosecute that sort of thing in our court system. Like that's what you have to suspend your belief. Okay. You basically have to assume that the Biden administration, the Biden administration was simply forcing the court's hands and law enforcement officers in general to no longer prosecute crimes as long as it was an undocumented migrant committing this. Okay? This is an insane position to operate on. And yet, it is a commonly held perspective. It's crazy. Right-wingers are purposely two-faced about this. They say violent crime. Then if you show facts, they say, well, all border crossers are criminals. They know this and they don't care. Yeah, some of them, for sure. I don't know why Kaya just hates the bed ever since I moved it. Like, she hates it more than before. Anyway, Kaya with the plausible deniability, half on, half off. Yeah. So Elon Musk says he's looking for waste and fraud, but the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau costs less than $1 billion a year and has returned $20 billion and counting to consumers in roughly a decade. Interesting. It seems like the people that are going to benefit from this are fraudsters, people who want to defraud the American public. That's who stands to gain from this decision. You know, people who are in Elon's orbit, the actual people that Elon cares about, and not the regular average Joe.
Not like just wanton destruction. So.
Are people fearful right now?
Yeah, I think several people, we all talk, and yeah, people are worried. I mean, not physically. I think everybody's kind of aware of, like, it's not as bad for us as it is for a lot of people that have it much worse. But yeah, prospect of losing a job that you've worked at and you're really passionate about, you've been doing for decades, is really scary.
Yeah. Great stuff.
This is who they've decided to defend. The user called for the repeal of the Civil Rights Act. He called for a eugenic immigration policy. He said the world should normalize Indian hate. Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna, who is Indian American and is here tonight, like Vance's wife, is also Indian American. He asked the vice president just a simple question on X. Are you going to tell him to apologize for saying, quote, normalize Indian hate before he is rehired into the government? Just asking for the sake of both of our kids. That apparently
is a good line to think in the moment, but like honestly, I mean, it's like a snide remark overall. But you know, ultimately there is not really much else behind this other than just like hitting him with a good own. Does Vance deserve any less? He deserves way worse statements, I think.
Vance responded telling Khanna to grow up, adding, quote, racist trolls on the internet, while offensive, don't threaten my kids. But he says a culture that denies grace to people who make mistakes does. Vance went even further in another post, accusing Khanna of emotional blackmail of the DOGE staffer, adding, quote, you disgust me. Well, the congressman is here, so I want to start with you because I, for one, was flabbergasted by that exchange. How did you take it?
I was surprised that he reacted in the way he did. Look, I praised Usha Vance actually just a week and a half ago. I said, as an Indian American, I'm proud of her ascent as a second lady. And I've known Usha, I've known the vice president. And all I was saying is you have someone who's 25 years old who has made deeply offensive comments about Indian Americans, who has talked about repealing the Civil Rights Act, who has talked about his disapproval of interracial marriage. You're going to rehire him. Is he going to apologize? Is he going to have any accountability? No one is saying cancel him. But you can't just rehire him and say, okay, everything is fine, and he's going to represent the United States government.
Why not cancel him?
This is the final stage of like using cancel culture as a shield, by the way. This is the final stage, like just saying, oh, you're doing cancel culture when it's a federal regulator, okay? When it's a federal government employee, a public servant who literally, with no qualifications, by the way, who literally tweeted out insanely racist shit 2 months ago, okay? This isn't like finding your favorite celebrities' takes from back when they were like 14, 15 years old, okay? Like everybody understands that kind of stuff is boring and annoying and no one actually cares about it, even though a lot of people engage in it still, okay? This is not that. It's crazy. It's like, yeah, I mean, as long as, yeah, let's hire Kanye West to a government position, you know, right now. Let's hire Kanye West to a government position right now. Let's give him access. Fuck it. It's cancel culture if you say he didn't know what he was doing when he tweeted those things today. Okay? As long as it's tomorrow, it's going to be tomorrow at a certain point, right? And when it's tomorrow, we'll just say, oh, that was yesterday. That was the old him. Give him the nuclear launch codes.
Asking, because we're living in an era where we're being told that if you talk about diversity, you should be canceled out of the government, but you can post racist posts as of a month and a half ago and welcome in.
Yeah, in a world where DEI and critical race theory and affirmative action are under attack, I feel like we're protecting white supremacists and racists and attacking Black and brown people who want to be part of the fabric of the country. And I'm curious how the vice president would explain to his Indian children why he stood up for somebody who said normalize Indian hate. Like, what would he say? And that issue may not come up today.
He also called the guy a racist troll. He acknowledged that this person who he wants back in the government is racist.
They obviously fired him in the first place, right? Why did they fire him?
Well, and I think there's two things that I see happening here. The first one is that this is the signal to his voters that we are going to let these things slide, that you can't be canceled anymore. For all of us, however, the other vast majority of Americans, we're standing by the fact that we are going to hold people accountable to that. And with all due respect,
What do you mean? What do you mean by
would
that?
not
What do you
suffice
mean
for
by that?
me in this particular circumstance? This is a moral character bedrock of somebody's perspective of the world. I don't care what you got on your grades at Stanford. I don't care what coding competition you won. These are not the kinds of people who should be filtering the biggest decisions in the design of this
So what,
country.
he's banished off into the desert
No,
for eternity?
you're-
Like, wreck
I'm
his
not
life,
interested
wreck
in
his
your-
career, send him off into
So you're
nowhere.
okay with racism in your party?
Hold on, man. Let me finish. That is not what I said, so don't even go there. Absolutely not. I think it's abhorrent what he said. I frankly agree. If he's willing to acknowledge what he said was wrong and apologize for it, we are a compassionate people. Why can't we give us? We don't know that he's done that or not.
But he has access to the World Wide Web. And you're welcome to apologize. We're very much looking forward to it.
And also, the congressman asked J.D. Vance, the vice president, should this person apologize? Vance didn't say, yes, he should. He said, God, I mean, he said all kinds of stuff to the congressman for whatever reason.
He acknowledged that the comments were sophomoric and terrible and all the stuff that he said.
And racist. He called the guy a racist troll, and now he's like, come back to the government.
J.D. Vance would have been better served if they just disowned this in the beginning. Like, this is one of those easy things to do. It wouldn't have been much backlash against J.D. Vance and Donald Trump if Elon Musk just decided, okay, well, this guy's going. I think this is more about Elon Musk's guy than anything else, because in most other situations, they would have just said, okay, we're going to cut ties with you, which is exactly what they ended up doing. But I still think that this part of this connection to Elon Musk, where many people have Donald J. Trump as president, J.D. Vance as vice president, but then Elon Musk as a Republican member of Congress described him as Prime Minister Musk. I think putting Elon Musk on the same level of Donald J. Trump, where we excuse everything that he does, I think that that's just really problematic.
Vance is wrong in that the information that we are receiving, the slurs that we receive as black and brown people, as women online, is hurtful, right? This is not, it doesn't matter, woke culture is worse. That's not true. And this individual works in government. When I go to my government and ask them for something, for help, do I have to worry that the person on the other end of the email or phone is racist and actually hates me and has been online saying, we think you should be whatever, deported or whatever?
He should apologize.
I mean,
that's at a minimum.
It's not just
Absolutely, I'm not arguing. I completely agree with that.
But again, like I do want to challenge us. This isn't an apology. Like I have a 5-year-old at home. He says he's sorry, and he does not mean it to his sister all of the time. It's just to get through the thing. I believe that the Trump administration was so eager for a moment like this to be like, see guys, don't worry, we're gonna save you. We're gonna make these things insignificant. We're gonna decurrency these kinds of statements and provide air cover. I agree with you. I think they chose the wrong one to die on the hill of. But we, as a society, as much as you want to strip DEI and wokeism and CRT, it's not going to work.
Well, look,
we're all still
I
here.
think that what this is happening in the context of a lot of other things in this government. And part of the point that I'm trying to bring to the table is that this is the same government that is saying at the Department of Defense, we're going to stop acknowledging Black History Month. We're going to go into DOD schools and address what they are learning there. This is from Jamie Raskin. He says he received this memo from constituents abroad on a U.S. military base who are parents in the DOD school system. They are outraged at censorship like this is happening against military families. One asked a school official why they removed photos on the wall of Susan B. Anthony and Dr. King, but not Leonardo da Vinci, and was told, quote, he was a real historical figure. This is also happening in the same government. So I don't know, how are we supposed to interpret this with our eyes and our ears?
Well, I'm not familiar with that and what's going on. Obviously, I would believe that is wrong. It should not be happening in our government, and I would love to know more about what happened. We're talking here, we're talking about two different things. If it's about DEI and qualifications for jobs versus giving somebody a second chance.
I hope those are not different things, okay? Because if we talk about qualifications for a job, and you're also telling me that you are willing to hire somebody who...
Why do these guys still try to maintain like any sort of aesthetic grounds that they care about any of this? Like the very fact that this current conversation, when you actually dive in, the very fact that this current conversation that they're having on CNN right now is about the hiring, firing, and rehiring of a government employee that was outed as having openly racist tweets where the vice president, who is married to an Indian woman that the dude was being racist to, actively, after getting bullied by racist neo-Nazi accounts on Twitter, turned around and said, yeah, actually, we should rehire this guy who thinks my children and my wife are inferior. It's interesting to me that there are even still Republicans that they send out to these, to these conversations to try and like defend this otherwise indefensible position. Who is this for? I think the people that like this sort of thing, they like it. They know exactly what it is. They like it precisely because it is a complete domination by overt racists.
Who is a self-described racist, then how is that person qualified for a job serving the American people in the government?
Look, what explains the vice president? Here's what I didn't understand. I mean, he was so emotional about this and such an outburst. I'm not saying that he's not condemning the racism. He did, but why can't he just say, yes, the person should apologize before being reconsidered? What is the hesitancy for him to say it? Is it political, that he doesn't want to offend a base? What is it that he can't say that?
Well, I came on here, I'd not seen your back and forth, I'll be honest with you.
Okay,
I can't speak. Look, I can't speak for the vice president, but I do know that he condemned the remarks from the outset.
But do you think he should, at the very least, say that before someone is hired, he should?
I'm not going to tell the vice president what he should or should not
say.
So
you're not.
I agree that I think the guy should at least acknowledge what he said was wrong.
And if he doesn't do that publicly, do you think he should be fired? The guy, if he doesn't acknowledge that.
Yes, I'm very clear. I think he needs to acknowledge that he should not be hired back.
And do you think it would be a big mistake in terms of the signal that Donald Trump and J.D. Vance are sending?
No, I'm not getting into the signals and stuff. I'm telling you what I think should happen.
You're like, signals. No. Again, we are saying that we are here to protect racists and white supremacists and the manosphere. That's what we're here to protect.
What signal?
This week, President Trump nominated Dr. Neil Jacobs, an atmospheric scientist.
Yeah, the funniest part about this is that you get fired from Jiffy Lube for saying 30% less with an earshot of a customer. You know what I mean? That's crazy.
To lead the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, better known as NOAA. In Trump's first term, Jacobs was the agency's acting leader during what turned into a political storm. Jacobs was...
I'm eating Ono Hawaiian barbecue grilled chicken. I got 16 ounces of straight white grilled chicken breast. And I got, who asked, buddy? Oh my gosh, so many fucking chatters. I wanted to switch it up and get some grilled chicken teriyaki this time, not Middle Eastern style. Yeah, but who cooked it? I don't know. Some dude that works at Ono Hawaiian Barbecue. I don't know what this new sauce they sent me with it. Did you get the katsu sauce? It's fire. I don't know. Little bro don't know the meme.
Was reprimanded for ethics violations during what became known as Sharpiegate. National environmental correspondent David Schechter investigates what can happen when an administration politicizes science.
What is important about a hurricane warning?
People's lives are on the line.
In September of 2019, during President Donald Trump's first term, Craig McLean was the acting chief scientist at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA. It runs the National Weather Service, which issues hurricane warnings.
Dorian has been pummeling the Bahamas for a day and a half.
On a Sunday, the Weather Service forecasted the storm to move up the Atlantic coast. President Trump tweeted that Alabama was in the storm's path, but it wasn't. 20 minutes later, the National Weather Service in Alabama accurately tweeted, Alabama will not see any impacts from Dorian. That contradicted the president. By Wednesday, with Dorian still approaching, Trump held up a 7-day-old map altered with a black marker, making it look like Alabama was in the hurricane's path. The controversy became known as Sharpiegate.
That was the original chart, and you see it was going to hit not only Florida, but Georgia. It could have was going toward the Gulf.
By Friday, without McLean's knowledge, the leadership at NOAA released a statement backing Trump and criticizing the work of the weather forecasters.
To have a political process unplug the public's trust, that got me stirred. That gave me a sense of rage.
McLean demanded investigations. They concluded that the statement was driven by external political pressure through a request from the White House then acting chief of staff, and that Neil Jacobs, the head of NOAA, who's been nominated again, violated NOAA's scientific integrity policy. McClain requested NOAA's top leaders acknowledge the investigative findings. Shortly after, he was relieved of his position. Jacobs has not responded to our request for a comment, and a spokesperson for NOAA says it does not comment on
This is the most annoying monarch shit. Like, this is stuff that you hear about in fictional works that try to recreate what it was like when we had kings. You know what I mean? It's so stupid. Hassan, I've heard you say I do not have an issue with Hezbollah. Do you still stand by this? In terms of their actions against resisting Israel doing a genocide, yes, I don't. It's so funny because so many of the chatters that come in here and say stuff like that literally love Donald Trump. Donald Trump, if left to his own devices, would unironically do Islamic Caliphate shit. Not Hezbollah, but ISIS shit, right? But because he's, you know, doing it Christian style, you consider that to be good and based. It's ridiculous. Like, what's going on? What's happening? Christian style? Calm your lamb chops? What, you think Christian Sharia is fake? Or is it because you agree with it, so you don't actually think it's, like, bad? You advocate for it when your favorite politician is advocating for it. Yeah. Anyone who's spent enough time in here knows I'm not an advocate for any sort of religious fundamentalism, whether it be Islamic or Christian or Jewish. I support anyone that'll give me fiber internet. Okay, well, boy, do I got to tell you something about Hezbollah. They have fiber internet. There is a 98.8% chance that chatter understood 0% of your answer. Okay, probably fair. But it's not necessarily for that chatter alone. I'm sure there's other people who are confused by my approach to certain foreign policy decisions. These chatters want you to say, I don't support their harm to civilians if that's obvious in good faith. Yes, Noon Mail, I know. You don't have to fucking spam it over and over again in the chat. I know.
nominations.
The blanket that was given to me by my team.
McClain stayed on with NOAA in another position and eventually retired. But big picture, NOAA's science is about more than hurricane warnings. It underpins how corporations and insurance companies predict the ever-growing risks of climate disasters and helps farmers choose the best time to plant as weather patterns shift. But Project 2025, which has served as a roadmap for the new administration, calls on Trump to break up NOAA, accusing it of being one of the main drivers of the climate change alarm industry. We reached out to the Trump White House, but it did not respond to our questions. And during the nomination hearings for Howard Lutnick, Trump's pick to lead the Commerce Department, which oversees NOAA, he said he does not support breaking it up.
Project 2025 is saying NOAA's alarmist.
Well, we're required by law to give the full picture. And if there's a reason to not be alarmist, what is that? What we're seeing is alarming.
He's like, bro, my job is to raise the alarm. That's what I need to do. It is literally my job to raise the fucking alarm when there is climate catastrophe happening. What do you mean? Trump's and Republicans' anti-science approach is so psychotic, and it's going to cook this country, literally. I do not understand how you can approach this like they did with COVID, where they're like, yeah, if you don't test people, then you just get less cases of COVID. You can't do that with COVID anyway, but you definitely can't do that with fucking tornadoes. What are we doing? COVID, at the very least, is somewhat invisible. Its impact is real, but it's like, you know, germs, people don't understand diseases. A tornado is very much visible when it fucks your house. At a certain point, someone's gonna be like, why didn't the National Weather Service warn me that there was a goddamn tornado? You can't do the COVID thing to tornadoes.
Is very alarming.
McClain says we should all be alarmed by any threats to the integrity of the science that supports what we know about our changing climate.
Going through that again is very concerning to me.
For CBS Saturday Morning, David Schechter, Washington.
Ushered to a stage by cameras cocked and pointed, the exchange of detainees between Israel and Hamas is as much a performance as it is a process.
I think one of the craziest things Israel did, and they do this all the time for every other thing, projection, was to talk about the horrific conditions that Israeli captives were held in after a month of endless videos coming out of the West Bank of Palestinians who were brutalized under Israeli detention. Israel turned around and did the reverse of that, where they were like, look at how badly treated our hostages were. And the media that didn't cover a single instance, the media that did not cover a single instance. Oh my God, that's AI art. I just realized that fucking fist has 6 fingers. Oh my God. Okay. That's a bridge too far. Hamas, that's a bridge too far, sir. AI art? You couldn't commission that? I'm condemning Hamas for the usage of AI art. The point I was making before I was assaulted with this AI art, the point I was making is that after months, and this happened in the first ceasefire and the first hostage swap as well, but after months of Israel releasing detained Palestinians in horrible conditions, okay, genuinely tortured, every single one of them, and not a single peep from Western media, Israel decides to turn around and say, yo, look at our hostages. Look at how terrible their conditions are. And everyone is now fucking writing about it. It's so gross and so unimaginably one-sided and so clearly ridiculous. Part of the reason why the hostages are coming out looking the way they do, all things considered, is because of Israel's blockade and mass bombing campaigns. Like, yeah, some of the hostages died too. How the hell are you not banned? Aren't you guys supposed to be anti-censorship? I don't understand. These guys literally think censorship is when titties get smaller in video games inside of Asmongold's community. But then, without even a fucking shred of irony, come in here to be like, why don't you get banned for saying the fucking truth? If I were to investigate, if I were to interrogate these people's beliefs, like, I doubt that they would be vehemently in disagreement with me either. They just got primed into saying, oh, why aren't you banned? The double standard. Like, be a human, dude. Please use your brain. It's crazy. These guys act like they hate liberals, and then they turn around and behave exactly like liberals do. And they're like, oh, this guy's saying something about Israel, an issue that I don't know anything about, and I think he should be banned for this reason. Yeah, don't worry. I heard Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad are anti-Gamergate, okay? Don't worry. I heard that they are also interested in having big titties in video games. Now you can actually support them. They're anti-social justice warrior, too. Here, let me reframe it from your narrow moral system.
An estimated 20,000 Hamas fighters have been killed in this conflict. Although Hamas have been weakened, here, their Al-Qassam brigade want to show they still stand. The 3 men they parade were taken hostage on October 7. This is Eli Sharabi, captured at his kibbutz after Hamas fighters arrived. Eli Sharabi's wife Liane and daughters Noya and Yael were killed in the attack. His remaining family watched his release. In his return to Israel, he was reunited with his sister and mother, but finally learnt of his wife and children's fate. There is also concern about Eli Sharabi's change in appearance. This was him before capture, and this is him since.
We're very happy that Eli came out. We are sad to see the situation, how they look. They look very hungry. They look like they suffered a lot.
This is the before and after of Ohad Ben-Ami and Or Levy, who were also released today. But the concerns over the conditions in captivity have been shared across the exchange.
Yeah, it's crazy that, like, Israel is like, I can't believe that our blockade that is responsible for not enough food getting in to the Gaza Strip and our endless bombing campaigns that absolutely contributed to these guys starving out there is actually directly the responsibility of Hamas. It's like, dude, for months, every time we saw hostages released, the conditions of the hostages that were released were very different than the conditions that were the conditions of the Palestinian hostages that Israel had released. Okay, one side was getting actively tortured while they have all of the power. The other side was getting actively bombed, and in spite of those bombing campaigns, the hostages looked definitely not as bad as this last batch of hostages look. Okay, it's crazy that Israel did a man-made famine and then turn around and said, wow, I can't believe our hostages starved. Like, what are you talking about? You did it. What do you think?
as the three Israeli men held in
Rape denier over here. If you can find an instance where I've engaged in rape denial, I'll give you $100 because I have not. The clips that you're referring to, ironically, are me arguing with a chatter who's saying no rapes occurred. And it's me literally saying, no, I think rapes did occur. There's a likelihood that rapes occurred. Find the clip, chatter. You finally have a job? Yeah. Send that clip 30 seconds prior and 30 seconds after, and then show me how I'm denying rapes, idiot. It's so easy to manipulate people. It's crazy. It's especially crazy to say that right now because the Israeli prosecutor came out like a couple of weeks ago and straight up said, yeah, we can't prosecute any sexual assault instances because no one has come forward. You did? You said there's no verified videos? Oh, shit. There's verified videos of rape? You should warn the Israeli prosecutor that there's verified videos of rape happening. Because that's really interesting that you're saying that. Because, again, last month, she came out and said, we can't prosecute any sexual assault acts because there's no verifiable evidence and no victims have come forward. And we've scoured long and hard. The only verified firsthand account of sexual assault that took place in captivity. That is according to the UN investigation that every single person loves pointing to without realizing that it's not an investigation and simply a rehashing of all of the things Israel has claimed. And secondly, that very same report showed systematic rape against Palestinian detainees that spanned far before October 7. Including 2 children detainees. There are thousands of firsthand accounts of Palestinians getting sexually assaulted in prison, in Israeli prisons. Thousands. As a matter of fact, it got to be such a serious problem that there were Israeli prison guards in the concentration camp Sde Teiman that were prosecuted by the Israeli government. Israelis turned around and did a pro-rape January 6th, where they successfully stopped these prison guards, these concentration camp guards, from being prosecuted by the Israeli government. Just because you have no idea what took place, and just because your media is unimaginably filtered with this incredible one-sided perspective, does not mean that I have to also undermine reality. Israeli official Marangaz stated that her department has found no evidence of sexual violence from October 7, reveals Israeli prosecutor. This is the problem with any kind of coverage surrounding Israel, okay? These guys at Sde Teiman, the Israeli concentration camp guards at Sde Teiman, raped the Palestinian prisoner to death on camera, okay? They raped a Palestinian prisoner to death on camera, and the rapists were let free. And one of the top rapists actually became a television personality. And you're over here being like, well, you're a rape denier. It is fucking ridiculous. There is so much documented evidence that directly points the blame to one side and virtually no evidence whatsoever beyond suspicion, reasonable suspicion, mind you, okay? Reasonable suspicion, but no hard evidence whatsoever on the other front. With one exception, okay, after 16 months, and you're still in here yelling at a guy who was much more open-minded to this perspective because of how war is waged and how sexual assault and sexual violence is a commonplace occurrence in instances of war. Oh, anyway, cheers. Why is he denying this shit? Oh, yeah. Not only that, but Israel also blocked the UN probe into Hamas sexual crimes from October 7 to avoid inquiry into abuse of Palestinians. That's from Haaretz. They literally blocked a separate investigation. So the UN commission that actually wrote a report on all of the violence that took place on October 7 straight up just rehashed all of the previous information that was released. It's crazy. What is this? The chat care more about Kai than anything he's saying. I feel like your chat can never disagree with you because you ban anyone who does or pull them up and scare them into saying what you want. That's really interesting that you're saying that because I'm pulling up multiple people who are openly disagreeing with me. What am I supposed to do when someone disagrees with me? What's the best process for you? just ban him and move on quietly. Many content creators do that, and they don't get any sort of scrutiny for that reason. I, on the other hand, do actually pull them up. There's a reason why I don't have a subscription-only chat, for example. I could just as easily do that. There's a reason why you can follow for 10 minutes and say whatever you want in this chat, because I do entertain dissent. You're just upset that I end up dunking on people who are saying ridiculous things. So either make a better argument or stop complaining. Anyway, don't you get tired of these dumbass chatters? The full quote of the prosecutor was this: unfortunately, we have no victims. They were either murdered or some of those who were raped chose not to come forward to share what happened. You know, I know he said that. I repeated that as well. What are you talking about? I said that after all of the evidence, they did not have any first-hand accounts because no one came forward. I said that. I didn't misquote him. I said that. I did say that. Anyway, I choose my words very carefully when talking about this sort of stuff because I know how people operate. They just can't actually attack the argument that I'm making, so they have to literally claim that I'm making this argument from an indecent point of view, like some secret anti-Semitism that's been left dormant in my brain or something, in spite of my 10 plus public years of advocacy against anti-Semitism. So they just have to like constantly massage my words in a way that suits their agenda. And yeah, I speak for 10 hours every single day on these issues. You will be able to find things that you can clip out of context and make a compilation that is 10 hours long if you want to. But if you truly want to understand the truth, whether it be the truth on the ground or whether it be my own personal perspective on the matter, I am an open fucking book. Yes, I know Kyle's on the ground. I don't give a shit. Stop. Like, look at this guy. Look at this guy. Look at this little freak. If they raped Israelis, who cares? They're fine to be doing that. Part of Muslim culture is rape. It's normal. You're a fucking freak, chatter. You're a disgusting little monster. For being such a big man, you're very emotional. I'm currently covering people engaging in genocide denial. If you don't have any sort of emotions associated with the subject matter, that only shows your sociopathic nature, which I suspect you think is a beneficial thing. Like, you probably fancy yourself to be a Patrick Bateman style person when you're not. You're a fucking loser. And everybody knows you're a fucking loser. That's why you have to spend all this time arguing online, trying to present yourself as someone who is actually not owned at all, not even remotely deranged. No, you're just overtly emotional, brother. Yeah, I mean, I do tend to get a little emotional when talking about issues like an ongoing active genocide in the hands of an apartheid state. I think that that's like an understandable position to have. I like that you move beyond making any arguments whatsoever, and now you're just like, you're emotional. Yes, dude, I have empathy. You should try it sometime. Maybe you'll be able to maintain a friendship for once. What was the deal with that Sheryl Sandberg interview with a gal who said she was a rape victim? I'm not familiar. I think there was one person who changed their, who changed what happened to them and went back and forth. I don't know if it was a person who saw a rape happen or claimed that they saw a rape happen, or if it was someone that said that they were a victim of it themselves. But as far as I know, and I might be totally wrong on this, but as far as I know, there was only one instance, and I have not seen the person explaining it. If you send me the information, I can look into it. But in a lot of instances, it's just secondhand claims coming, and then those claims are immediately disparaged by Israeli authorities, by the way. Like that one guy who was like, oh, I saw rapes happen. The famous case of that one dude who was also in Screams Without Words, the article, the New York Times article. And it came out that they were just lying. Like, none of the timeline matched up. None of the information that they gave actually held true. Most of this stuff has been debunked. One of the worst aspects of this is that if rapes did occur, which again, considering that criminal elements also penetrated the Gaza boundary after the wall was broken, there is a likelihood that this could have happened, right? I still maintain this position. Having said that, however, Cot was so busy trying to farm donations in that process that they basically undermined any possible investigation that could ever occur. And the Israeli government, since October 7, has denied outside investigations from being conducted. The notion that the people in charge in that moment, in that emotional moment, understandably, would basically ruin any kind of opportunity to have justice for the victims should be criticized non-stop. Okay? But if we are going to talk about the actual facts, why is it being framed like we aren't believing women coming out with their stories? It's just propaganda. That's the reason. Like, the initial argument was Hamas actually was weaponizing rapes or something. They still say that nonstop. There is no evidence for that whatsoever. None. There is, however, evidence, plenty of evidence for systematic sexual assault happening inside of the Israeli prison system against Palestinians. Another thing that many defenders of Israel routinely lie about. And because I'm uncompromising and refuse to lie to entertain people's insane points of view, a lot of people just like lose their minds. They have only one motive, the one framework to operate off of, which is drama infused. It's gross. If you are familiar with colonial, you refuse to lie, you do it all the time, you dimwit. Give me one example. Give me one example and I will VIP you. So you basically keep lying through the service of Hamas, huh? You sad, sad little man. Give me one singular example where I've lied and I will get on my hands and knees on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. I'll get on my hands and knees and I will VIP you. I'll mod you. Go ahead. Chatters, this is not your opportunity to say you lied about gaming or you lied about finishing Kid Nation. Yes, my haters went after every account that actually hosted Kid Nation on YouTube after Kid Nation being on YouTube for 12 years, okay? And they got all of them copy strikes, so we couldn't enjoy Kid Nation. I'm waiting. Chatter, I am waiting. Why is it that people have such strong opinions and yet when I say, hey man, I'll even reward you if you can find this, they just shut the fuck up. I just don't understand it. Is this not what people want? Desperately trying to use Discord for backup? Yeah, I mean, go there. Go wherever you want to get this information. It's just that it doesn't exist. It's not real. They're going to say it's a gotcha to prove their shitty argument. I mean, it's fine. I want to hear it. He can't speak because he's banned. He's not banned. You're wrong.
Damn, this guy's good.